The antidote to tyranny is knowledge, and acting with courage to defend our most basic rights, life, liberty, and property, dedicated to the cause of freedom for everyone.
This is Larken Rose, and I thought that would be fun to do a Halloween show. And I got to thinking, what could we do special for Halloween? I didn't want to just rant by myself for 3 hours. But I thought, what guest would be appropriate for Halloween? And got an idea. There's a guest I wanted to have on, and it took some doing, a bunch of calls, talking to his agent, and then talking to him. Finally, he agreed to be on. Now, this guy, he and I disagree on basically everything, and he knows that. But I told him I would let him say his piece, because I like to let the enemy, quote unquote, say what they have to say to really show what it is they believe, and then use the technique of questioning to get to the core of what it is they advocate. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce our very special guest for this Halloween evening, Satan, Beelzebub, the Prince of Darkness, Lucifer, the devil himself. His goal is the destruction of humanity. In fact, before I go on, would you agree, Satan, that that's your goal? What is your goal? I'll let you, I don't want to put words in your mouth. You tell me, what's your goal?
Well, that's close enough. Destruction of humanity. There's a little more to it than that, but that pretty much sums it up.
Okay. I appreciate you doing this interview. I realize you don't usually give interviews. Now, Satan, if somebody isn't insane, how would you possibly trick them into doing evil?
Well, it's not easy, I can tell you. Basically, there are various tricks involved. One of the main ones involves, you gotta trick them, you gotta deceive them. But one of the main tricks to use involves fear. If you got somebody who's scared to death, it's relatively easy to take their fear, turn it around, turn it into hatred, and then get them acting on that hatred and doing horrible things to other human beings, because you're actually getting them to think it's good. And that's where the deception comes in. Because you can't just tell somebody, go commit evil. He's not going to do it. You have to make him think that the evil you want him to do is actually good.
Okay.
And it's a tough thing to do.
Yeah. Okay, I get that. The thing you said about fear actually reminds me of Star Wars, of all things. Yoda saying, fear is the path to the dark side. Can you give some examples of what you're talking about there?
The most obvious example is war.
Okay,
You
sure.
got thousands of guys on one side trying to kill thousands of guys on the other side, vice versa, and they're both scared to death of each other.
Yeah.
And any good military leader knows that you gotta scare the hell out of your troops. And you look at all the war propaganda and you can see it's all about saying how absolutely evil the other side is. And it's actually kind of funny because you get both sides doing these horrible atrocities and they both say, well, it's because the other side is evil. It's just hilarious. But,
yeah,
you have to make them so scared of the other side that they're willing to do things. And you can do that to both sides in a war. And you get sort of a mass atrocities and death.
Yeah. Now, Satan, I gotta say, I'm a little surprised that you're this candid about talking about your tricks and deceptions you use to manipulate people into committing evil.
Right.
I mean, it seems to me like you wouldn't really want to tell people these things because they catch on and the tricks wouldn't work anymore.
Well, for a long time, I didn't like talking about them in public. And I didn't like it when other people pointed out what it was I was doing. But I've since learned that basically people are really stupid. Yeah, even when I come right out and tell them what I'm doing, the tricks still work. They still fall for them over and over again.
Yeah.
So, I used to be really careful about trying to be secretive about all the things I do to try to deceive them into doing my bidding. I got less and less careful and realized I didn't need to be careful, because even when people are out there saying how it works, it keeps working.
Yeah.
So, I'm not all that concerned about it.
Yeah. That actually kind of matches my experience too. Probably you can say whatever you want and most people are still going to fall for it over and over again.
Yeah, they're stupid. And it's a good thing for me, Because, like you said, people have been pointing out these tricks for a long time.
Yeah.
But they keep right on working.
Yep. When you're talking about these, whether it's soldiers or whoever committing these horrible acts against people, and killing and torture and all that, wouldn't you say that a thing that plays a huge role in it is when someone gives up his own free will and takes on pack mentality and says, well, I'm not just acting on my own behalf, I'm following orders, I'm obeying authority, I'm a soldier in this army, they told me to do this, so I'm going to. How does the whole obedience to authority thing play into what you're talking about?
Yeah, it's a huge factor, because when you get someone in a situation where they, like you said, they start doing the pack mentality thing, and they start following orders and acting like they're acting on behalf of something else, their country or their race or their religion or whatever the heck it is, when they don't take responsibility for their own actions, but say, I'm just going to do what the guy above me tells me to do. That's a huge help for me, because you look at any army, and what you got is a huge command hierarchy, and you got some guys at the top giving the orders, and everybody underneath, they don't think about what they're doing, they just follow their orders. Mm-hmm. Now, every once in a while, you get some troublemaker who says, well, I think that order is immoral or illegal or whatever.
Yeah.
But for the most part, people just do what they're told. Now, the beauty of that for me is if you got this giant pyramid of power like that, all you got to do is get the top. If you get the top guys on your side, you get the top guys deciding to commit evil, and then they tell everybody under them to do it, and everybody under them does it.
Yeah,
it's so much easier for me than trying to go to one person at a time and trick them into doing evil.
Sure.
Because that's a pain in the neck.
Yep.
But if you get them believing in authority and believing in their gang, and you get the guy at the top on your side to do the stuff you want, then everybody underneath, with rare exceptions, is just going to follow right along and do whatever the guy at the top says. So that authority thing, I don't know what I'd do without it. Because, if I had to do this all one at a time, tricking one person at a time, it would be a pain in the neck. But, when you can just get the leader, even the guys like Adolf and Joe.
Joe? Who the heck's a Joe?
Yeah, Joseph Stalin.
Oh, got it, sorry.
Even those guys, they can't tell their underlings, we're gonna go do a bunch of evil. They have to pretend like it's good.
Right, of course.
Now, I just want to point out, even in the command hierarchy, the guys at the top can't say, let's go do evil. They still have to pretend it's good.
Yeah.
And
obviously.
Even if they put up a flimsy facade of, we're fighting for truth and righteousness, yada, 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 they can get their underlings to do some pretty heinous stuff. I love it. Again, you get both sides in a war doing that. They both say the other side's horribly evil, and so there's just mayhem and death and destruction everywhere, and I just grab a lemonade and watch the show. I love it. Yeah,
some of us aren't quite as amused by it as you are. What do you think of the Nuremberg defense? Mm-hmm. These people are saying, well, we didn't choose to do evil ourselves. We were just following orders. It was somebody else's idea. To me, that's completely bogus. That's throwing away a person's responsibility. But in a way, isn't that sort of what you were saying?
I'll take that. I'll take it whenever I can get it. When people just out of obedience commit murder and all that, I'll take that.
You can see it in prison guards where they're on a power trip. Uh-huh. They wouldn't treat people that way normally, whether because they'd be too embarrassed to or just because somebody would slug them. But yeah, they get a little bit of power. They get authority saying you're allowed to boss these people around. And then they do their little sadistic power trip. Yeah, so I think that's kind of what you're talking about.
Yeah, when the IRS went to your house. Yeah, I was watching that too.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny. No, seriously, it's just what I'm talking about. Is the people who don't behave that way normally, but once authority says, you're allowed to go harass these people or even torture these people or kill these people. Abu Ghraib, oh man, did I have fun with that one. you can see the evil that comes out when you tell people it's okay to hurt these guys. That was a blast. I love that.
That ties in with what you said before about you demonize somebody. You say they're really scary and horrible, nasty, so it's okay to torture them or to murder them or whatever it is.
Yep.
You got to have a lot of buddies in the IRS.
Oh, yeah.
Department of Justice.
Oh, yep, all those guys.
You got a lot of faithful underlings there, don't you?
Yeah, they do. Hey, Cheney, how's it going?
I assume you're familiar with Stanley Milgram's experiments on obedience to authority?
When his results came out, man, that made me happy. I was starting to doubt myself and, the age of enlightenment and all the progressive society and yada, yada, yada. When his results came out, I had a party because I showed that people, you tell them to do evil, they still do evil. As enlightened as Americans think they are, as compassionate as they think they are, you tell them to do evil, they'll still do evil. Yeah, I was thrilled when I saw the results of that. Oh, and no, that thrill that Bonehead Milgram came out and showed that to the world, showed everyone how stupid they are. Luckily, most people still haven't heard of that. They haven't seen the results. They still think they're all free and wise and compassionate and charitable and all that. They don't know that they're just puppets. Some authority figure says go kill somebody, they're going to do it.
Yeah, most of them.
They'll deny that they do it, but when it comes right down to it, they'll do it. They'll do it. I have complete faith in that.
Yeah. I told Beelzebub here that if he would agree to do an interview, I would agree to play a few of his songs on the air for the first time. And so we're going to do that. We're going to play one song each hour. They're fairly short. What's this one called?
This one's called Be Afraid.
Here is the radio debut of the song Be Afraid by the devil himself, by Satan.
Be afraid, be very afraid, 'cause the world is a dangerous place. Worry about this and worry about that until you're a basket case. Your fears, your darkest fears aren't as bad as your life will be. The world will turn to a living hell if you don't bow down to me. Injury and disease, enemies overseas, economy going down, poverty all around, gun violence everywhere, the rich aren't paying their share, Muslim terrorists, all hands clenched into fists. Be afraid, be very afraid, 'cause the world is a dangerous place. Worry about this and worry about that until you're a basket case. Your fears, your darkest fears aren't as bad as your life will be. The world will turn to a living hell if you don't bow down to me. Plastic killing the earth, what are your investments worth? All others driven by greed, they don't care about those in need. Extremists here and there, you're the only one who cares. And you'll soon be out of work, 'cause your boss is a greedy jerk. Be afraid, be very afraid, 'cause the world is a dangerous place. Worry about this and worry about that until you're a basket case. Your fears, your darkest fears aren't as bad as your life will be. The world will turn to a living hell if you don't bow down to me. Be afraid, be very afraid, 'cause the world is a dangerous place. Worry about this and worry about that until you're a basket case. Your fears, your darkest fears aren't as bad as your life will be. The world will turn to a living hell if you don't bow down to me.
Okay, so that was Be Afraid by Satan.
Yeah. So, how'd you like it?
Well, I guess I expected something a little more along the lines of heavy metal or something. Like, don't you at least have some heavy metal guys down there to help you out? I thought they were the big Satanists and stuff.
Oh, please. What a bunch of phonies.
Really?
They dress up and they do the big act and stuff. And, well, I kind of like it when they push the whole immediate gratification thing.
Okay.
And that's actually the second song I think you're going to play next hour.
Yeah.
Is about that. So I like that part and, all the drugs and other stupid stuff they do. But, if you actually listen to what they say, it's not all that satanic. I mean, Black Sabbath was supposed to, the name Black Sabbath. It's supposed to sound scary and satanic.
Yeah,
but you
sure.
listen to what they actually sing. Ozzy Osbourne, he's got that song. It's called Dreamer.
Yeah,
and it's all about why can't we get along and love each other and do away with hate. And,
right, yeah, that's right.
What the heck? What kind of satanic guy is that?
No, you're right. You're right.
It sounds more like an angel or something. It's really obnoxious. In that song, War Pigs, he's totally exposing one of my favorite tricks for getting people to hate each other and kill each other.
Yeah, just what
and
we
he's
were
complaining about it.
Just what we were talking about.
Instead of listening to these politicians telling us to kill each other.
Yep.
So, those guys, they are not on my side. At least not most of the time.
Okay.
They put on their makeup and they do their big shows to try to get attention and stuff. But they are phonies. Those guys aren't really on my side.
It's sort of funny that so many churches and stuff point to heavy metal and say, that's evil, that's the music of the devil. And now you're turning around saying, no, it's not.
Yeah, it's not really. I mean, they do the sex, drugs, and rock and roll thing, but they're not into let's kill people and torture people. You got some rappers that are into that. But no, not the heavy metal guys. They're a bunch of sissies.
Kind of sounds like you and the churches are on the same side here. You're both complaining about heavy metal.
Well, we're on the same side a little more often than most people might expect.
Who? You and the churches?
Yeah, of course. Come on. The Crusades, Spanish Inquisition. Come on, people. Any of this ringing a bell?
Okay.
The whole religious authority and hierarchy thing, it's been almost as useful to me as the nationalism and love of your country and your government. Almost as useful as that. It's the same thing. You still have a hierarchy if you get the guys at the top to support evil, pyramid to do evil.
Okay.
And it's even better if they can, feel self-righteous when they're doing it. Because you tell them, we're fighting for good and truth and God and yada yada. Now let's go torture and kill anybody who doesn't believe what we believe.
Yeah.
Over history, the churches have not always been my enemies.
Yeah, okay, I can see that. I know what you mean. The fact that the whole notion of democracy and a two-party system basically is a good way to throw power back and forth between two sets of tyrants and make sure the people never get any freedom. So, Satan, what's this next song called? Anything you want to say about it before we play it?
I think this one pretty much speaks for itself. It's called Feel Good Now. It's basically about immediate gratification, short-sightedness, and all that stuff. It speaks for itself. You can hear it. But yeah, this has to do with what we were talking about before. This is one part I like about the heavy metal guys and the whole Hollywood culture and stuff. So this is my tribute to them.
So this is another song by Satan himself, Feel Good Now.
Feel good now, feel good now, feel good now. Feel good now, feel good now, feel good now. Feel good now, feel good now, feel good now. Feel good now, feel good now, feel good now. Why work on lasting relationships when instead you can sleep around? You don't need to be sober or useful, so swig that whiskey down. Why save up for tomorrow when it's so much more fun to spend? Why plan for the future at all? You'll just be worm food in the end. So feel good now, feel good now, feel good now. I said feel good now, feel good now, feel good now. Feel good now, feel good now, feel good now. Right now. Feel good now, feel good now, feel good now. Following your feelings is so much easier than learning to think. Who cares if your brain works anyway? Here, have another drink. Wanna know how to behave? Watch a soap opera or MTV. Yeah, emulate some drugged out rock star. Now that's the way to be. Feel good now, feel good now, feel good now. Right now. Feel good now, feel good now, feel good now. Feel good now, feel good now, feel good now. Feel good now, feel good now, feel good now. I said feel good now, feel good now, feel good now. Right now. Feel good now, feel good now, feel good now. Right now. Right now. Feel good now. It's good for kids. kids to eat junk food and get raised by a TV screen until immediate gratification is all they know, all they've ever seen. Stupid, obnoxious, short-sighted, and spoiled, irresponsible, self-absorbed brats. Yeah, that's what the world needs more of. So thank you and congrats. Feel good now, feel good now, feel good now. Right now, feel good now, feel good now, feel good now. Feel good now, feel good now, feel good now. Right now, feel good now, feel good now, feel good now. I said feel good now, right now. I said feel good now, right now. Feel good now, you deserve it. Feel good now. Hell with tomorrow. You know you want to. It won't do any harm, I promise. Superficial and shallow, materialistic and capable of thought. Yeah, those are the minds that I control. Those are the souls I bought. How do you feel now?
That was Feel Good Now by Satan himself. I have to tell you, the message of that song sounds like almost everything coming out of Hollywood.
Yep, and don't think that's a coincidence either.
No, I suppose it's not.
They've been a huge help to me in spreading an attitude that makes them just weak and stupid and really easy for me to manipulate, for me to buy. They'll sell their souls at the drop of a hat. I mean, I can't even count how many souls of people in Hollywood I own. I got like a warehouse full of them.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So yeah, they've done a great job of spreading that message. If your choices are, a life of horrible misery and suffering or having fun, who do you think they're going to choose? If they make me look like the fun guy and they're the miserable, dreary, suffering crowd, who do you think people are going to want to choose? Let's see. Tough choice. So yeah, it's really stupid of them to give that message. But,
yeah,
I gotta tell you, I don't like people enjoying themselves at all.
Really?
The only reason I push this immediate gratification thing, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and eat junk food, and do all these short-sighted, stupid things, is because of the longer-term damage it does, the harm it does. It makes these people mentally, both psychologically and intellectually, really weak. Easy to control, easy to manipulate, easy to bribe. The fact that they have fun short term, I don't even like that. If I could make them be miserable short term and long term, I'd be thrilled. But as things work now, I have to go for the trade-off of, short term, they have a little bit of fun, which, oh well, I guess I'll put up with that. Because I know long term, I got them in my clutches. Because they have no willpower, they don't believe in anything, they don't think anything. They're just puppets. They're so easy to control. And meanwhile, most of the religions are saying, join us and be miserable. And, what kind of sales pitch is that?
Exactly.
It makes my job a lot easier.
Yeah, I can imagine. Between the Republican and Democrat parties, which do you prefer?
Oh, I don't care. Doesn't make any difference to me. Either way, there's stuff I can work with. As far as the voters go, both groups have these noble, lovey-dovey goals, but I can easily take perfectly good motives and twist them around into something evil. So I just like a change of pace every few years, do it in a little bit different direction. It doesn't make any difference to me. Whoever's in power, I can play the game, I can manipulate it, you have the Democrats, they care about people, they want the poor taken care of. I can take their love for other people and twist it and turn it and mangle it and turn it into conflict all over the place and violence. And my favorite example is that so many people, not so much anymore, but for years and years, everybody thought, the kind, compassionate, loving people are all communists. And You see how that turned out? It's a great example of how I can take these good motives among the general populace and turn it into just heinous evil, and it's hilarious. And I do that with the Democrats. And then the Republicans, they want justice and security, which they start out as two good things, but I can easily take that. I can manipulate it, and suddenly we're having wars all over the place, and we're torturing people and locking people up right and left for just not quite being the way the politicians want people to be. Not because they're actually out there doing what I wish they would do, but just because they aren't quite behaving the way the politicians told them to. So it doesn't matter to me who's in power. I've been around a long, long time. All sorts of countries, all sorts of leaders, quote unquote, all sorts of parties. I can use them all. Anybody in power, I can use it. I can twist it, I can turn it, I can manipulate the people, and over again, I can take Obama. Obama's election is a great example. All these good-hearted people, all excited about, yay, we're gonna have justice, we're gonna have prosperity, we're gonna have all these great things. Give me a break. You think this is the first time people have ever been excited about a new leader and change? I can use any of it. I don't care what the platform is. I don't care who the person is. If the vehicle is government or authority or power, and that's what it comes down to, power. The moment you take these good motives and apply them to power, they're all mine. They are all mine. I can manipulate them. I can control them. I don't care. I don't care what the underlying, the stated goal is, what the motives are. I can turn it to my will every time.
Why would
Not a problem. Anything that divides. Divide and conquer, divide and conquer, divide and conquer. It's what works for me. It's what works for religions.
Yeah.
It's what works for politicians. It's the root of power is divide and conquer.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there aren't very many things I can use to divide constitutionalist people who generally respect individual rights. But illegal immigration is a big one because it's a big pack mentality thing where they think it's perfectly fine to keep out people who don't look like them.
The third song, I made a deal with the devil, so to speak. He doesn't get my soul, sorry. But
not yet.
He agreed to do this interview if I would agree to play 3 of his songs on the radio for the first time. We've been playing one each hour, and this is by Satan, the devil himself. The title is The Democracy Song.
Don't you hate how the world is full of people who aren't like you? Well, you've come to the right place. Let me tell you what I'll do. You give to me the power, you allow me to be strong, and I'll build you a utopia, I'll fix everything that's wrong. All those people who don't look like you, all those people who don't talk like you, all those people who don't act like you, all those people who don't think like you. Just give me the word and I'll straighten them out. After all, that's what I'm here for. I'll make them be what you want them to be, of that you can be sure. I'll tell them how to behave. I'll control them from cradle to grave. Make them pay for the things that you need. Hear their every word. Watch their every deed. But that's not all. Over there is a guy with more cash than you. Over there is a guy with more stuff than you. He drives a fancier car than you. He lives in a bigger house than you. Just give me the word and I'll make things fair. I'll cut him down to size. I'll take it from him and I'll give it to you. He'll sink and you will rise. I'll tell him how to behave. I'll control him from cradle to grave. Make him pay for the things that you need. Hear his every word. Watch his every deed. I hate to tell you this, but I've got some bad news for you. You see, someone else gave me more cash than you. And someone else gave me more votes than you. And someone else gave me more loyalty than you. And someone else gave me more power than you. They gave me the word and you know what that means. It's too late now to back out. But don't feel bad, cause this is what democracy's all about. I'll tell you how to behave. I'll control you from cradle to grave. Make you pay for the things that I need. Hear your every word and watch your every deed. I'll tell you how to behave, and I'll control you cradle to grave. I'll make you pay for the things that I need. I'll hear your every word. I'll watch your every deed. It's for your own good, you know. If I was in charge, there would be chaos. You can always try again in 4 more years.
That was Satan's new song, the Democracy Song. The message there was very familiar. In fact, it reminds me of just about every political campaign I've ever heard.
Yeah, well, just for the record, they learned it from me. I didn't learn it from them.
Yeah, I believe it.
Just so if anyone's a copycat, it's them. It was my idea first. To do the whole divide and conquer manipulation thing and giving these false promises. And you just give me power over life and you don't have to worry about anything. So they're emulating me, which I take that as a compliment. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. Man, I got a lot of imitators in D.C.
Yeah, a lot throughout history, throughout the whole world, in fact. Some of us are trying to get people to wise up to the tricks and stop falling for them, but
No way.
so far that's been with limited success.
Yeah, you'll never know.
Now I want to get to the underlying point. You want people to suffer. You want them to be nasty to each other. You can't stand it when they get along and...
Yeah.
Well, is that right?
Yeah, that about sums it up. I can't stand it when people get along and cooperate and are all nice to each other.
Okay.
It just bugs the heck out of me.
Right.
Can't stand the thought of them. Whose idea was it to give these things free will anyway? You know, if it's up to me, what humanity should be is like a giant ant colony. With me at the top, of course. I rip out all their brains and put in these remote control devices. So they just do what I want them to do. That's the way the world should be.
That's just evil. And evil, that's your whole gig, Satan.
Yep.
Kind of scares me. Your behavior reminds me a lot of just about every politician I can name.
Oh, yeah.
The fact that they're constantly trying to find new ways to monitor everyone and control everyone, get more money out of everyone, and make everyone into what they think they should be.
Yeah.
Just like you, I think it genuinely bothers politicians to know that there are human beings out there exercising free will. I think that really just existentially bothers them, and I think that's just deranged and insane.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, they feel just the way I do. That all these people out there, it's just chaos if you let everybody decide their own future. We need a game plan, and of course, there has to be somebody who makes the plan, and I want it to be me, and the politicians want it to be them, but yeah, we can't stand the anarchy that results of just letting society be free and letting people decide what they should do and how they want to live.
But
it's like they don't even want a leader. They just want to do their own thing.
Yeah, well, some of us...
it should be like a team or an army or something. Everybody just does what they're told. Forget the stupid free will and everybody going in all directions and living their own lives. No, they should all be following in lockstep to a master plan. Well, I know that. No, the politicians know that. I don't know what's wrong with you, that you can't see how that would be better.
What has to be underlying that is an absolute hatred of humanity, because free will is what makes us human. And if you hate the fact that people have free will, it means you hate humanity.
Absolutely. Yeah, I certainly do. And so do all the other people who share my beliefs. The funny thing is I don't want them to be free either. Yeah, I hate humanity. I hate people. I hate the fact that they have free will. And they can decide to do this or do that, and they can choose what to do. I hate that they're capable of good. You take away their free will, they can't be good anyway. They're just robots. That's all that's left.
Yep.
And that's what I want to see. Come on, I don't know why people don't figure this out more often. You look at the multi-billionaires in the world who are running everything behind the show, my best buddies, and I hope I'm not giving away their secrets too much, but other people are talking about this, but most people aren't paying attention anyway, so I don't mind saying it. You look at those people, if somebody's got billions of dollars, what could they possibly want? No matter how greedy and selfish they are, they have all the material stuff they could ever want for the rest of their life.
Yeah, exactly.
Why do they keep pushing?
Exactly.
Why do they want so much to control everybody, know everything and control everything and have everything be like their giant game? And you're exactly right. It's because they hate humanity. The international bankers and the people who have controlled all the governments as puppets for years and years and years, and presidents have talked about it, and lots of other people have talked about it. Most people don't pay attention. Those people, it's not just greed. I mean, they already have more than they could possibly spend in their entire lives.
Right.
It isn't just greed. It's a deeper thing that they share with me, a complete hatred of humanity, a purely evil resentment of the fact that anybody, anywhere, can exercise free will, can determine his own future. Yeah, that's absolutely what they're driven by. It's what I'm driven by. I'm not going to stop as long as there's anybody out there capable of being good and exercising free will and having a fulfilling life, lovey-dovey, getting along with everybody. I hate that because I hate them. That's just how it is.
Well, some of us aren't going to stop until people out there understand self-ownership and that every person owns himself and that free will is what we should have, what we should be. We should be able to choose our own futures and choose our own beliefs, choose our own everything.
No way.
And that it's the concept of authority, bringing in a ruler to supersede the free will and ability to judge right and wrong of the individual and say, no, just obey this thing, that really is the antithesis of humanity and goodness. Authority is throwing away your ability to do the right thing, to even judge the right thing, and just obey. But people have been trained by the propaganda to think that obedience to authority is what makes us civilized, is what makes us human. And it's the exact opposite of the truth. And I appreciate you admitting that so openly. Definitely what I concluded. We've been having an interesting discussion with Satan, Beelzebub, the devil himself, who has been surprisingly candid about the tricks he uses and the deceptions he uses to try to trick people into being evil. And we were just agreeing that the belief in authority is a great way to have people throw away their free will, throw away their ability to judge right and wrong, and just turn them into robots. You think that's a fair assessment?
Yep, that about sums it up. The only difference is I think it's a great thing and you don't seem to like it.
No, I don't. I'm going to do anything I can to try to break other people free of that delusion and have them come to the realization that no, actually, you own yourself and every other person owns himself and there shouldn't be a master. None of us should be throwing away our free will just to obey somebody who says, I'm government and my commands are law. That's the opposite of humanity. That's idiotic.
Yeah, sorry you feel that way. Sorry you got away. You fell for it for a while, didn't you?
Yep.
I'm still confident that you got a tough job ahead of you. My propaganda is way better than yours. I can promise them free stuff. I can promise them salvation. I can promise them all sorts of stuff. What are you going to promise? All you can promise them is, I'll leave you alone. I won't take care of you. I won't protect you. I'll just leave you alone. You think that's what people want?
Nope.
Give me a break. I can promise them all sorts of stuff. And it doesn't even matter if I ever deliver on the promise. Just as long as I promise, don't worry, I'll take care of you. That's what the whole Be Afraid song they played in the first hour. That's what that was all about.
Right.
Is I promise to, don't worry, I'll take care of you. I'll protect you from all these things. You can't promise them anything. All you can promise them is, I don't know, whatever happens is going to happen, I'll just leave you alone. So it's funny that how much better my propaganda is.
Well, what's really sad, well, you think it's funny, I think it's sad, is if you look at the results of freedom, where there isn't a master plan, where there's nobody in charge, where people are allowed to do their own thing, the results are the closest humanity is ever going to get to utopia.
Yeah, I hate that.
Prosperity and people getting along and coexistence, peaceful coexistence. But if you look at the result of when people believe the promises of so-called leaders that if you just give me the power, I'll make everything okay. The results are the Soviet Union and Red China and
suffering,
Cuba. And the results are not pleasant. But people so much want that promise, even if it never happens, even if the masters never deliver on the security and prosperity and happiness that they promise. They never, ever deliver. But people are scared to death of the alternative, which is what I'm trying to tell them will serve them better. If you want more security, if you want more prosperity, if you want a lot better, more peaceful society, what you need is not the right master, it's no master. It's a hard sell. You have a much easier sell because the whole master plan thing, you can say, here's what I'm going to do to make the world work.
Yep.
And freedom, all we can say is, I don't have a master plan. I'm not going to make you be what I think you should be. I'm going to let you be free. And as it happens, letting everybody be free is what makes society work. This supposed chaos and anarchy leads to a natural, amazing order where a authoritarian control system leads to chaos and anarchy, as in death and destruction. Satan, they still fall for your propaganda.
Sure do.
Most of the time. And it's sad. I know you don't think it's sad. You think it's funny.
I love it.
But it's sad how much human suffering is a result of people thinking that, well, if we just find the right leader, like, oh, hooray for Barack Obama, he'll save us all. There's no such thing as putting someone up on a throne and giving him tons of power and he'll save us. He can't save you. You can't use the violence of government to save humanity. It doesn't work. It never works. But people keep falling for the promise that if you just put me in power, I'll save you, I'll protect you, I'll take care of you. It's pathetic.
Yeah, the lie makes them comfortable. They have this sense of security, and a false sense of security, which is why I like it. They fall for it over and over again. I'll throw away all my freedom, and whoever will protect me. It's great. Works out perfect for me. I think their fear of everything, which I love, I'm pushing that all the time. Be scared of everything. That throw away your free will, throw away your humanity, throw away your judgment to some giant powerful thing that says, I'll save you. And they're so afraid, they're so scared of everything, that it's going into complete denial, and they don't want to see the results.
Yeah, they don't.
Having a leader, having a master. They blind themselves to what it actually leads to because they're so scared of uncertainty, of not knowing what's going to happen, of not knowing who's going to take care of them, not knowing what the future's going to hold for them. That they'll, not only will they throw away their free will and look for a master, a leader, quote unquote, to save them, but they'll go out of their way to not notice how much that never works. How much that results in suffering and death and war and all sorts of stuff like that. And I love it. That's why I push fear so much, is because you get people so scared of the unknown that they ignore the fact that the known, the master plan, the big guy in charge, never benefits them, benefits me. Love it to death, but they don't even notice. They'd still rather, well, we need this, and we have to do this. No matter how horrible the suffering and death it leads to, they fall for it. They fall for it every time.
Yeah, well, some of us are wising up, and we're trying to get more to wise up. It's definitely an uphill battle. That brings to a close this rather bizarre edition. I want to thank my guest, Satan, for giving me this interview on this Halloween evening. This is Larken Rose saying, I own me, you own you, and that's all you need to know.